Hey Taurus, I'm going to start shuffling your cards for the first proofread of September. It's September 2nd. We're in the last day of the full moon. You know, I just did Aries' reading. It was probably like 15 minutes long. It shouldn't have been that long, and I'm going to try not to make yours that long, but if it is, it's okay. So, wow, this is kind of like relationships, marriage, love. It could be like the renewing of vows for some of you. It could be like, you know, you really feeling a powerful pull or lure towards someone because the Two of Cups is here, or you could just be spending a lot of time with the person that you love, you know what I mean, doing that. I'm going to put this back in here just because, sorry, because it would just make the reading so much longer, and I'm sure the energy will come out. Yes, okay. Thank you. It was like, yeah. Taurus. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do the 3-stack, and I'm going to look at the cards on the front and on the back. Here we go. Perfect, all right. So let's look at your first card, Taurus. I'm using the Druidcraft Tarot. Strength card, yeah. So this is energy that sort of squares you, right? So this is like not using any force, not being threatening, you know, and also not being afraid, right? This is kind of like you having a lot of positive self-assertion to the point where you don't really feel like you have to prove yourself to anyone because you know who you are. The Strength card is being conscious of your creativity, you know, and what you can do. The Strength card is also talking about a sense of balance that comes from self-confidence, right? How you carry yourself, you know? It's an 8, so it's related to the 8th house of transformation. So it's almost kind of like you have changed, right? Before, you probably would have acted differently. You probably would have responded differently. Or a situation probably would have impacted you differently. But I feel like you are starting to really see a different side of yourself, you know? And you're starting to come around in some kind of way, or someone is starting to come around. You might even be dealing with a Leo or a Scorpio, if you will. Even a Libra, just because sometimes they give the number 8 to the Justice card. I don't know why. But there is a sword in this picture, right? Put down your sword, darling. Don't fight. You know, because the number 8 has to do with the 8th house, who is ruled by Mars and Pluto is exalted in Leo. So it's kind of like, I'm not fighting with you because I'm using my inner strength, and I know that this is the best way to go, right? I'm not going to argue with you about anything. I'm not going to fight with you about anything. And it actually is going to make a situation turn around for the better, you know? I feel like someone will start to see and respect, right? Princess of Swords. So we could be dealing with an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or we could be dealing with children, so children respect. The Princess of Swords is the Page of Swords, so this is an announcement coming in, right? Perhaps. I feel like some of you may have even lost your sunglasses or something like that. You're realizing, I don't know why that came in. And the Princess of Swords is actually somebody who has a sharp mouth or a smart mouth, right? So the Princess of Swords is probably testing you, or you're testing someone else, vice versa. I don't know what it is, but somebody's like testing you with their sharp tongue or their smart mouth or their wit, or someone might have been a little bit reckless with their words, perhaps, because the Princess of Swords is young, you know what I mean? And they may not understand how speaking, wordship or wordsmanship, right? That type of thing. How important it is to really say what you want people to know. That type of thing. Also, it's like, The Princess of Swords also kind of like is a little bit like two snaps too. So they just might have a smart mouth, or they could just be even getting on your nerves, and it's taking a lot for you to not say something that would make them like see your strength, you know? You're like, it's taking a lot in me right now to keep this sword down. I have it, and you're over here looking crazy, acting crazy, being crazy, acting all childish, saying childish stuff. Anyway, Princess of Swords, whoever that is, if it's you, get it together. And if it's not you, then maybe you do need to show your strength, but do it in a different way. You know what I mean? Do it in a different way, okay? Because you could show them who you are without without dropping to their level. You know, don't come down to someone's level. You know, and they will realize where they may have been, you know, misusing their words, where they may have been, I'm sorry, I'm like listening to the things, where they may have just been unfair with their words, that type of thing, or they will just see where they overstepped their boundaries in some kind of way, you know? And Taurus really is talking about not overstepping that. Don't you come up from over that fence. You better not step over that fence, honey. This is where I am. That's kind of Taurus. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the third card. Right, Four of Pentacles. Right? What are you protecting? You're protecting your what? Your money, your dignity? What is it? You know, so this has to do with just you saving money, knowing how you are keeping track of your spending. You know, give yourself some limitations here, right? Because this is Sun in Capricorn, and this is talking about you need to set some clear boundaries too with people, okay? And also, and be just clear about that, right? It does have to do with respect because it's Capricorn. It does have to do with jobs, so it might be somebody at your job, but it is talking about setting clear boundaries. I don't know, if you guys paid for somebody when you went out and they haven't paid you, ask them for that money. You know what I mean? If somebody owes you money. And if you owe somebody money, just go ahead and pay them back. But this also talks about establishing foundations, actually seeing a point of success in your in the ways that you have successfully learned to deal with money. You know, that's a success in itself. And maybe the pandemic has taught us all different ways. Maybe we were on that road anyway. You know, I feel like a lot of people were on the road to change and on the road to establishing new systems for themselves, right? And that needs to be something that you do. The table just nudged a little bit in my water, kind of like shook. But, you know, establishing those clear boundaries, all of that. And, you know, you need to establish some financial boundaries for yourself, you know, and I'm talking to Taurus, so I know how it is. You know, I have 2 planets in my second house. Like, I have a big planet there. So I know. It's like you have to practice some restriction, some restraint, because then you'll start to see things the way that you want them to be. Right? It's not easy, it's hard, and you might feel like you're not able to do all of the things that you wanted to do, but it's okay. We're all feeling kind of like slowed down and restricted right now, so it's fine. You know what I mean? Teach yourself something that you haven't, you know? You know, and it's also, if you want something, go ahead and save up for it. And if you want something, you can have it. Just understand how it's going to affect you financially. What are the rewards, you know what I mean, that you would get from that. And it's also like a sense of accomplishment that comes from hard work too, with this Four of Pentacles. Let's go ahead and look at what's behind the Strength card, the Five of Cups, right? See, look, this could even be having to do with like a relationship or a commitment or something like that. It could even be dealing with work, because the Five of Cups is related to It's related to the Hierophant, which is Taurus. That's you. But then the Five of Cups is Scorpio, which is shared resources, which is kind of like a money house as well, right? So Mars in Scorpio. This could have to do with like losing money on something, right? So I said, if somebody owes you money, then just, get that money back. Maybe you're not going to get the money back. You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like something got away, or you're at a loss. I feel like you're also probably at a loss for words in some kind of way. You probably may have been hurt by the actions of someone, right? Because Mars is action. Scorpio is kind of like, ooh, I resent something. I'm kind of like that type of thing. Also, somebody could even be jealous of you. Because the Princess of Swords, now that I've turned over the Five of Cups, is looking over at the Five of Cups, and it has a sword up, and it's got its little, like, I'll show you. Actually, they're like this. Anyway, but the Five of Cups talks about being hurt. It talks about learning a lesson of pain, emotional pain, right? It's not something that you wanted to feel. You wouldn't have asked for this certain situation to happen because you didn't want to ever feel this way. But it's kind of like bringing you to a greater sense of consciousness about how you might have been allowing or giving too much of your emotional security away, right? Or relying on something to validate you emotionally, like, oh, that type of thing. You could have been feeling like a competitive energy, like, if I have this, if I get this, then it's going to mean something for me. And it's like whatever it was that meant something for you actually didn't mean anything to you. It wasn't supposed to mean as much as it did to you in this way, that you would be so distraught and so affected by it. You know what I mean? Okay, anyway, let's turn over the Princess of Swords, whatever that is. Okay, so the Ten of Wands is here. Right, so this has been a long road. I feel like, you've been putting up with a lot. The Four of Pentacles is here. It's the Sun in Capricorn. And that is Capricorn. It's ruled by Saturn, you know what I mean? The Ten of Wands, Saturn and Sagittarius. Sagittarius has to do with, like, goals and opportunity. And you feel like you've worked hard to get somewhere. You've worked hard to get somewhere. You have a lot behind you. Also, don't give up. You know what I mean? You could just be feeling exhausted, And you have your guard up, too, a little bit, I feel like. And you do have the Four of Pentacles here. It talks about having your guard up emotionally, too. You might even be emotionally guarded. That Five of Cups is here, definitely. Because you've just been through so much with someone, or you just kind of got tired of someone. And Saturn and Sagittarius, it's talking about work, too. So you may have more responsibility right now than you feel like you want to deal with, some of you. Or it's almost kind of like, this is more than I really want to be dealing with right now. That type of thing. Okay. I feel like also the Ten of Wands kind of speaks about having to do a lot of the work yourself. Right? And maybe you feel like you had to do a lot of the work yourself within whatever this format was. I don't know. Right? And it's kind of like how you were emotionally attached to something. It's like an unhealthy emotional attachment. Right? Or not expecting that something could even become that. Right, unhealthy emotional attachment. Yes, get rid of it. Yeah. This is fixed. This is Uranus, so you could be dealing with an Aquarius or a Libra. But the Fool is talking about, somebody just like not really caring, right? This is asking you to kind of like put your cares behind you. You know what I mean? Focus on this moment right now. Don't think about how somebody affected you, or, because that's getting in your way. That's stopping you from your own progress. This is a new jump off for you, right? You should feel free from something, definitely. and now you can do what you want to do. You can think for yourself. You can kind of like take the risks that you want to take or whatever that is. You know, it's thinking outside the box. The Fool is talking about radical change and things coming in. So you have to radically change your mind. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Okay? Thank you, Taurus.